Looks like football, baby.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back into another edition of the Fantasy Football Smackdown Waiver Wire Sniping for Week 2 of the 2022 season. This is the first edition of Waiver Wire Sniping for this year. If you're new to this strategy, this podcast will bring you the players that you need to look to add for free prior to kickoff each week, before they are all featured on every Waiver Wire show, including this one, the following week. So if you have an extra roster spot, if you can slide a guy into your IR and just pick up a guy for free right before kickoff, these are the guys that you want to try to target. There's no risk here pretty much. Again, don't drop anyone of value off your roster. But if you have an extra roster spot, these are guys you can just stash in your league, see if they hit on Sunday. And if they do, you hit a gem. Everybody else will be looking for them next week, but you already have them. And if they stink, just drop them for the next waiver wire guy that you want to add. I'm your host, Kyle August. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleMonth8. Appreciate you checking out this show. If you're watching on YouTube on Saturday, this is a YouTube exclusive early release. So if you're subscribed over at the Dynasty Warzone YouTube channel, you're going to get waiver wire sniping Saturday morning or early afternoon each week. If you're listening on the podcast, of course, this will drop on Sunday, but you're a little bit behind. Your league mates are already ahead of you. This has already been released on the YouTube channel, so be sure you're subscribed in both places. But for this show, to get it early, you got to be on the YouTube subscribers. So without any further ado, let's just dive right into it. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to get to see all these ownership percentages over on the screen. Same thing with the waiver wire show each Tuesday that I'll be doing. So highly suggest you guys are watching on YouTube. Makes it a little bit easier to follow. I'll, of course, read these off for you guys on the podcast as well. But let's just dive right into it. Quarterback position, a few matchups to monitor for week 2. Looking ahead just a bit, you got Kirk Cousins on the road at Philadelphia. That's also a primetime game, so you're going to get primetime Kirk Cousins. And then Justin Fields at Green Bay. I think Fields is a decent streamer for week 1 at home against the Niners, but going on the road against Green Bay, I don't have a ton of faith in Justin Fields. So if you were forced to stream him in week 1, you may want to look at another option. A lot of the other elite guys right now still, are must starts. So nobody else I'm shying away from. And of course, no bye weeks yet, but each week I'll be highlighting the streaming players that you could have been streaming maybe this week, but you might not want to stream next week. So Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields are just two guys to monitor there. Few streamers. I usually use a 50% cutoff here, so Jameis Winston is just underneath that. I love his week 1 matchup against Atlanta. So if he's out there and you don't love your week 1 starter, Jameis is an easy pickup for a 2-week play. But he's going to be at home against Tampa Bay. I know that defense is pretty good. He's 46% owned, but Jameis is a guy to be willing to stream against the Bucs in New Orleans. Matt Ryan, he's going to be at Jacksonville in week 2. I don't love that matchup as much as because it being on the road divisional opponent. Jacksonville has had Indy's number just a bit, so I don't love it. It is a decent step back for me behind Winston, but Matt Ryan's 43% owned, so he is a streaming option next week as well. Carson Wentz, he's only 12% owned. He's going to Detroit next week to face off against the Lions. So he's my number 3 streaming quarterback. And number 4, Baker Mayfield, is going to be on the road against the Giants. So a couple quarterbacks there that I don't love their talent, obviously, but I will take a shot on them against some bad defenses. All right. Next up here, there we go. Working out the kinks already. We got the running backs. I have 5 running backs that I'm looking to stash, including a deep league guy. Number 1 at the top of this list, I'm looking to roster Rachaad White of the Tampa Bay Bucks if I can. We're going to see this guy on primetime against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Rachaad White is 37% owned. There were reports right after draft season, of course, that they're going to try to limit Leonard Fournette's touches just a bit. If that equals Rachaad White in the passing game, I love that for him. The rookie running back has already shown over the course of his profile that he should be a strong receiver. Paired with Tom Brady, this is a guy that I want to take a shot on, just stash him, see if it works. I expect Fournette to be the goal line back regardless, but we saw how much Fournette was involved in the passing game in 2021. If that equals more into a split with White, he's going to be a player that you're going to want to have on your roster. Number 2 on this list is Mark Ingram, 27% owned. Of course, heading into week 1, there's a lot of question marks. We haven't really seen these teams show their hand a whole lot. If Ingram is in a decent split with Alvin Kamara there in New Orleans, a 27% owned Mark Ingram should be more rostered in Yahoo leagues. Isaiah Pacheco comes in at number 3, similar to Ingram. This rookie running back, 31% owned. We'll see how much he's featured in this Chiefs offense heading into week 1. Number 4 on this list, 8% owned. This guy's much more widely available. Still not sure if it's Darrell Williams or Eno Benjamin, but I'm going to take a shot on Eno Benjamin. We saw a pretty much right down the middle split, 50-50, between James Conner getting the groundwork and the goal line work, which makes him the more valuable running back for the Arizona Cardinals. But if the receiving downs work goes to another running back, it could be Eno Benjamin. I think Darrell Williams is just fine as a receiver as well. But if the Cardinals prefer the guy they've had in-house for a few years, Eno Benjamin's only 8% owned. He's worth a stash just to see how that Cardinals backfield shakes up. And number 5, only 13% owned. This is an easy one. If you're in a redraft league, you have a kicker slot, just drop your kicker for a moment, pick up Gus Edwards, who is IR eligible, being on the PUP list, 13% owned. He's an easy guy. These are the guys you should be looking to stash, regardless if you're trying to leverage waiver wire sniping strategy or not. You do not need to waste a bench spot on these players when they're already hurt. You can just slide them right in the IR, and they're good to go. Deep league stash for the running back position. This guy is only 2% owned in Yahoo leagues. He's 14% owned over on Sleeper. So if you're in a Dynasty league, this still could be a guy that you could just pick up and add to your roster here before Sunday. Damian Williams, the Atlanta Falcons. The thing about Williams is there was reports, okay, he's the number 2 back. But Cordell Patterson, if they work him more as a receiver, I think that's going to give Williams plenty of opportunity in this Atlanta offense on the ground. So he's a guy that I'm looking to stash even in the deepest leagues. Again, 2% owned over at Yahoo, but just 14% owned on Sleeper. So if you're in a Dynasty league, this guy may be available to you. All right, next up, the wide receivers. 5 wide receivers I have plus a deep league stash. Number 1, 39% owned, Michael Gallup. Limited practice earlier this week. I still expect him to be out. He's already been ruled out for week 1. I expect him to miss week 2 as well, but good signs for the Cowboys wide receiver returning from injury. Michael Gallup, 39% owned, should be owned in over 60% of leagues to go at him right now. Got some rookie receivers, some young receivers mixed in here, 2 through 5. Jahan Dotson of the Commanders, 22% owned. Like to take a shot on him, see how he works into this offense. Nico Collins comes in at number 3, 33% owned. I think he's already the clear-cut number 2. But with a shaky offense there, it's understandable why he's only 33% owned, but I think he's going to show up a little bit. You want to just take a shot on a bench spot with him. Rookie wide receiver Garrett Wilson, only 22% owned. Joe Flacco is going to be starting for the first 3 weeks at least. And we'll see how that works out for these young wide receivers. I know Elijah Moore is a stud, extremely talented, but Wilson being the first wide receiver off the board and only 22% owned. These rookie wide receivers are players that there's unknowns right now. We get that. There's plenty of time to add the old veteran guys that'll, the Marvin Joneses of the world later on. For right now, to start the season, you want to add these rookie wide receivers, just see if they pop early. And number 5 on this list, similar to Gus Edwards before on the running back list, Jameson Williams, 24% owned. He's IR eligible. He's in no question, should be on your roster on an IR slot if he's available in your league. There's no reason for Jameson Williams to be available. Deep league stash for you Dynasty players or deep league players out there, Noah Brown of the Dallas Cowboys. He is 0% owned across the board on Sleeper and on Yahoo. Not glowing reports about Jalen Tolbert from those reporting on the Dallas Cowboys. And as a Cowboys fan, you haven't really heard the what you want to hear from the rookie wide receiver that many were hoping would step into that number 2 slot while Michael Gallup is out. The Cowboys not only have Tampa Bay on primetime this week, they play Cincinnati in week 2. So if Gallup misses both those matchups, those are matchups that the Cowboys should be throwing the ball quite a bit. Noah Brown could be the beneficiary of that. Again, 0% owned on Sleeper and Yahoo right now. Noah Brown of the Dallas Cowboys. Tight ends, 3 streamers for you guys. These are all under 30% owned, actually. Robert Tonyan, who was not on the injury report for the Green Bay Packers. That cannot be said about Allen Lazard, who's doubtful for Sunday as of right now recording this. I think Tonyan, we've seen it before. He's kind of a touchdown or bust guy, but he may see a few more targets funneled his way with the lack of wide receiver options for the Green Bay Packers. Tonyan next week gets the Chicago Bears at home. He's 22% owned. Number 2 on this list is Evan Ingram. He's going to be at home against the Indianapolis Colts, 25% owned. We saw Jacksonville use the tight end quite a bit. Will that continue with the new regime? I like the option there just to stash Ingram if you're streaming a tight end that you don't feel uber confident in. And Gerald Everett, he's my 3rd tight end here. He is at Kansas City next week. Should be a shootout in that prime matchup with the Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Gerald Everett is only 23% owned over on Yahoo. And finally, DST streamers. If you're like me, you never roster a DST more than 1 week, pretty much. And there are some good streamers for this week, like Tennessee as an example. They have a tough matchup the next week. So that usually happens. Just like your quarterback, for DSTs, I'm usually looking ahead a week. If I can stash a DST for the next week, I'll usually do that if I got the free roster spot. The Cleveland Browns, I think they're the far and away the best streaming option for you in week 2. They get the New York Jets at home. They're 25% owned. The remaining teams on this list I don't think are great defensive units, but they have good matchups even though they're both on the road. Washington Commanders at Detroit, 11% owned, and the Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants, 4% owned. I don't love those road matchups, but they're going up against poor defenses, so you can take a shot on them. Again, the Cleveland Browns, 25% owned, Commanders, 11% owned, and Carolina Panthers, 4% owned. There you have it. Appreciate you guys for checking out the Waiver Wire Sniping Show heading into week 2. Again, if you're checking out on YouTube, appreciate you. You're ahead of the game. It's Saturday, and you already got the news. If you're listening on the Dynasty Warzone feed on your favorite podcasting platform, you're a day behind, baby. Go check out the YouTube to get Waiver Wire Sniping early on Saturday and get ahead. Again, add these players before kickoff for free. Enjoy week 1. Best of luck. I'll be back at you for the week 2 Waiver Wire Show on Tuesday morning. We'll catch you then.